Welcome back, everybody. So today we're going to have part 2 of my 2019 hop growing season. So in the first one, we cleaned up the boxes and we also put down a combination of some good dirt and some manure. So if you're new to growing hops and you do get rhizomes, what you would want to do is make your beds, put down that good dirt and that manure, then put the rhizome about 4 or 5 inches under with the sprouts turning up. So the first thing I wanted to do today is we'll take a look at how they've been doing. It's been 2 weeks since I recorded the last video. So we'll be able to see some of the hops grow at different times. So we're going to be able to see bigger ones, shoots coming out versus other ones. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first hop, which would be in that bed. Okay, so this is my Centennial hop, and we can kind of get in here and see some of the stuff. I'm just going to zoom back and we'll come down here. I am getting some weeds, but you're going to get that just for the simple fact that you are putting a whole bunch of manure and stuff in here. So we can see here some vines that are starting to grow, and as we look around we can see here's a ton more that are starting to come up. But as you can see, they're just really starting to come up. So there's one, if it will focus. Guess that's about as good as it's gonna be. But you can see over here, here are some more. They're just barely starting to come up. Some of them are white, but you shouldn't expect everything right now. Last week we did have snow, so I'm sure that kind of hindered it. So next we're going to step over here to my Cascade. Now all the green stuff you see, those are vines coming up. So this one is taking off. You can see them all. So this one is good. Now if you're on your 3rd year, or farther, I should say, you're going to want to cut all these back. They say for the most part after year 2 that the vines that come up first are all hollow. So we are going to cut these back. I did do it last year and I will do it this year, but we will let them keep growing before we cut them back. But I did start this as one single rhizome. This is my 4th year, and you can see what these things can do. Like I keep saying every year, they're pretty much a weed. So that is a 4x4 box, and they are all the way out to the sides wherever we look. So I'm guessing if we look down here, next year they might start coming up under here. So it is a good idea after, I would say, about 6 or 7 years to actually dig them up and start over. You can try and sell them or give them away if you have a local homebrew club, then maybe you can trade. So we're going to go over and look at the Chinook and the Columbia. Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me. It is very windy on this Saturday, but this is my Chinook. So the vines are really starting to grow on this one. But again, this is my 4th year with this, so I will cut everything back. But along the sides here, I'm getting some. And obviously, it looks like they're all pushing that side. They're all in clumps. Not very much is coming up from the center yet. Let's go take a look at the Columbia. Okay, this is my Columbia. We are starting to get some. They are down here. Here's one. And there's a whole bunch starting to come up right here. Here's one. And there's a couple over there. There's one in the middle right there. And that is about it. This has been the slowest grower every single year, and I'm not sure why. I don't know if it just doesn't like my dirt, but as you can tell, the other three do. But we are going to talk about the rope, twine. What are you going to use? But we're going to go over to the hot boxes because those are what need the most attention, so that's a good spot to start. Okay, so this is the twine that I've started using. Now, my first couple years, I didn't think it was a big deal, so I went to Home Depot. You could probably go to any big box store, and I picked up some and was like, yeah, it'll work just fine. Until I realized you pretty much have to water these all the time. You know, you want to make sure that soil is nice and wet. Anytime it's dry, you want to water. So if you think about that, using cheap twine, it's going to constantly be wet. Once these hops start growing and those flowers or cones start coming on, they weigh a lot. And what I saw was the cheaper twine started breaking all the time. And then I would have to put a new piece on, or I would have to skip a row, because on these two, it's 4 foot over, 1 foot up. So at the bottom, I start at like a foot up. Then for every 4 foot I go over, I'm going up a foot. So these keep going up to the 5-6 foot. And then around the top, they can grow around the top if they need to. So all that weight, if you have 2 or 3 binds per line, it's heavy and it will break it. So that's why I went to this. I can't remember the name of this, but I will put a link down below if you're just starting off, or if you want some better twine. It does break, I will say that. You'll see here in a minute, I don't know if you can see on that one, they are broke already, but I have to say I did cut one last year when I was cutting the binds down to get the hops off. But I do have a couple more that are broke. So just remember, lots of water. This stuff is going to be wet. And if you want to try something else, go for it. I've heard of people that have used wire, thin gauge wire. The only problem that I've heard of, I've never used it. Hopefully the wind's not too bad. The bad part about it that I heard is the little fine fingers on the binds cannot grip it, so it's harder for them to go up, where this is pretty gnarly and they can just go on this and go to town. So other people have used baling twine. That is slicker, but supposedly that works. But I don't want to buy a 600-foot roll, so I will continue to use this. So let's go ahead and get in a hot box and get going. Okay, so this hot box is the worst. You can see they broke. And so what I do is on the bottom, I usually run the rope all the way around. And this one has broke, but I know where this one goes. It goes up there to that eye hook. So what I do, get some clippers. These are the same ones I use to cut all my weeds and everything with. Cut it off, and then I just restring it. Here I have another one. I'm guessing this is one that I did cut, and this will go up to the next one that is up top where you guys can't see. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it, and then we'll come back once it's done. Just make sure when you're doing this, you leave enough room so you can put it through the eye and that you can put a knot in it. So on this one came from the top corner, came to here, and then went down to about here. And it was too short because it did get cut. So what I do is just use that one, put a couple knots in it, and then I will cut the extra off. Then I will start a new one. Now on this one, it's also missing one on the other side, so I will actually run it the rest of the way to the other one, and I actually believe it will come all the way back to here. So I'm gonna run it all the way around and then I will cut it. Okay, so we should have enough. Hopefully we have another one so I can show you the other way. It's probably easier. So now what I'll do is just run this twine in the eye holes. I will say, if you're gonna make something like this, make sure you get big enough eye holes that your twine does fit through it. When I made these, I was going by the smaller twine, and sometimes this twine doesn't fit in there. Okay, so we have it all done. I have enough here, so we will go ahead and tie it. Okay, so we're missing one that goes from here to there, up to the front, up to here, then connects to here. So another way that you can do this is start at the top and let it work its way back down, so that way you don't have to guess how much you need to cut. So this is kind of harder again if you don't have eye hooks that are big enough. But what you can do is get this in there. Like that. Then we know it goes to this, and I'll show you the eye hooks and all that once we get done with this. Then this one will tie back to here. So once you have that done, you'll probably have a little extra. You can cut that off. Then if it sags a little, you can just pull it, then cut this one and tie it. Just make sure you keep some tension on there. And there you go. So this box is pretty much done. I do have a loose one right here. I'm not going to worry about the very top right now, because if they get all the way up there, I'll have enough. I really don't need any more. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look. So let's just go 1 foot increments. So that is the first eye hook. There is the second, third, fourth, fifth. Then up top, I've got them up there. But what you want to do is, if you start down here, and if you go clockwise, counterclockwise, it doesn't matter, but we'll go clockwise. So that one's on the first one, so that means over there it has to go to the second one, then to the third one, and this is the new one that we string. Then it goes to the fourth one, fifth one, then that would go up there, but like I said, I'm not going to put them on there. So as you see, 4 foot over, 1 foot up, every single one. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. That was what the hops look like, or the bines look like, after a couple weeks of putting down that good soil and that manure mixed. My guess is you guys will see it too. What I'll try and do, if I can find it, is put a picture up from last year, just so you can see the difference. I think my Cascade is always crazy like this every year. I think last year when I did it, I had a Dankalicious or something from outside, and I put it in there and took a picture. So that one usually does that, and it's usually the one that grows well here in Michigan, followed by the Centennial. So Cascade, Centennial, then Chinook, then my Columbia, which I've never had enough to use in a batch. So hopefully it gets some more on there. But if you guys have any questions, leave them down below. We will be back in a couple weeks, and we will start cutting bines back. And then once they get about a foot tall is when we'll start doing a full dose of Miracle Grow on each box per week, just to really get it, because once those flowers come, we're done with any nutrients until it's all done. It should have enough. So if you like this video, thumbs up. If you don't, thumbs down. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you know when new videos are coming out. And until next time, happy brewing.